It's Ciaran from RedDevilWeekly to give you my thoughts ahead of United's game against Fulham. A 12:30 kickoff, the early kickoff, the dreaded early kickoff, of course. And Fulham, who this season have been having a bit of an up and down season, but a team that you don't want to face when you're out of form, especially away from home. But we'll get into that a bit more later on. Please do, if you haven't already, leave your thoughts and predictions in the comment section down below. I really enjoy reading them and interacting with you guys down there. So please do leave your thoughts. And also feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy the content. So we'll get straight into Fulham because realistically they deserve to be talked about more than the bunch of chances we've got on our team right now. Fulham 14th in the table. Actually, I looked up 6 places behind us, which is unbelievable, really, considering the run of results we've had. But nevertheless, they're 6 places below us. Only 3 points below us, though, meaning that if they did beat us, probably with our bad goal difference, they would go ahead of us, which is, again, a scary thought. 3 wins, 3 draws, and 4 losses for them in their first 10 Premier League games. Most notable result, I would say, was getting a draw away at the Emirates, a 2-2. A very good result, and actually I think Arsenal's first drop points of the season, so they can be really proud of that. They're a team which this season have had ups and downs, as you can tell by that record. They haven't been overly great, but they haven't been overly bad either. And that kind of is reflected by where they are on the table. 14th for a newly promoted side is probably about right. I think most Fulham fans you speak to would probably be fairly happy with their start to the season. And one thing I noted actually from looking at their form was they never allowed themselves to get into a rut or a losing streak. I don't think they've lost more than one Premier League game in a matter of weeks. They've kind of kept consistent enough so they haven't let themselves been dragged into that relegation race at this point in time, which looks like it's almost over, and it's going to be between the 4 teams we see in the bottom 4 right now. But Fulham, credit to them, they've brought in some good players, some interesting additions to their side, and as I said, even though they haven't made a blistering start to the season, I would say it's been fairly steady and fairly consistent from a Fulham point of view. And of course, as I mentioned, they have caused problems for the bigger sides. Not only in the Premier League, but actually in the Carabao Cup, they made it through to the quarterfinals. But they also knocked out Spurs, who, even though we saw Spurs made a lot of changes for that game, they're a very good side. So, as Fulham usually are, they're a team that you don't want to face when you're out of form, and they usually turn up their game playing against the Big Six. Of course, their last Premier League result was a 1-1 draw away at Brighton, who are flying this season again. So, they're a decent side, Fulham. And actually, whilst, yes, they lost to Spurs 2-0 the other week, they can cause you a lot of problems. So I'm just going to give you, an idea of who they've got. I'll give you the starting lineup from their last Premier League game. So they've got Raul Jimenez, who is a great addition. Obviously, he had that really bad head injury, but it's good to see him back on the pitch and playing regular first-team football again. Decordova-Reid, someone we've seen in the league before and caused problems. Alex Iwobi, I think he was a new addition as well. He's played fantastically in that kind of central attacking midfield role for them, and I think he's much more effective in the midfield rather than out wide. So I think they're using him well. One of the most discussed Fulham players, of course, is Paulinho, someone who was linked to Man United as well, and boy, could we use him, especially with some of the recent injury news we've gotten. But Paulinho, I think he's the main guy that you're looking for in terms of a player that's going to dictate the midfield. And I think he's just a quality operator. I think he's just a quality player, someone who can put in a tackle, find a pass. What else do you want? What else do you want from your centre midfield players? Calvin Bassey, I think he came in from Ajax, which will be interesting. Or is it Rangers? Sorry, it might have been Rangers. I don't know if he's played for Ajax before, but I think he was playing for Rangers last season, so I think I got that completely wrong. Castagna, of course, from Leicester, playing at right back. So a fairly decent side. You've got to say there's definitely weapons in there that we have to be careful of. On the bench, they had Harry Wilson, who has been a bit of a villain for Manchester United. Of course, former Liverpool Academy player, someone that scored against us, I think, a few times, Tom Kearney. And of course, we can't talk about Fulham without mentioning Andreas Pereira, who, former Manchester United player, didn't really work out. A lot of people at the time thought he had a fake Brazilian passport, the way he played for us, but I think he's been a really good fit for Fulham. And you know what? I'm happy for him, because in some ways he probably made the right move at the right time. And he's doing really well for them, and I hope he continues to do so. But yeah, I would say those are the main threats. Of course, Adama Traore is another one. He was back in training this week for Fulham, so we'll have to wait and see whether he's going to be in the squad and available to play. And we all know what sort of threat he can pose. So a lot of threats there from Fulham's point of view, and a lot of players that can cause us problems, especially a defence that is as low confidence as ours. So that's kind of the lowdown of Fulham. I'm sure there's more tactical analysis on YouTube out there if you want to see how they play. I don't profess to give the best analytical breakdowns of other teams, but as I said, there's definitely a lot more on YouTube if you want that sort of content. So we've talked a bit about Fulham. Let's talk about Manchester United. I don't want to waste too much of my breath talking about these wasters, so I'm just going to get straight in to what I think is going to be the predicted 11 for this game. And the biggest injury news, I did touch on that, Casemiro will not be involved. He's out for several weeks with a hamstring injury. So just when you thought our season couldn't get any worse, we get another big injury, and hopefully, he recovers well. And I just feel like, unfortunately for Casemiro, it's only heading one way, which is out the exit door, either in January or in the summer. And I think probably with this injury, January's probably not going to be in the frame, but I just feel like he's running out of legs, and we said at the start of the season he seemed a bit sluggish. I think injuries and his age may just be catching up with him, which is so sad, because he was actually so good for us last season. So yeah, it's frustrating, but I think Casemiro, it looks like he's going to be out the door sooner rather than later. I think maybe this summer could be a bit of a clear out. But having said that, we have Varane back, apparently, according to Ten Hag, who was actually quite feisty in his press conference today. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he was so animated. He seemed a lot more animated, and it looked like he'd lost patience with some of the comments and the pressure that he's under. And I guess it shows that he's a fighter. He obviously talked about being a fighter after we got beat 3-0 by Newcastle. But in the end of the day, we need to see results on the pitch. It's easy to talk the talk, but as a fan, you just want to see the players and the manager walking the walk and playing good football. We haven't seen a good 90 minutes of football. Not even a brilliant 90 minutes of football. Not even football out of this world. We've just seen, at best, a decent half of football. We haven't even seen a complete 90-minute performance, and that's really all we ask for. We're not asking for much. We're really not asking for much. So let's see if we get that at Craven Cottage tomorrow afternoon. But this is the predicted team that I've gone with: Onana, Dalot, Varane, Evans and Reguilon. I know Maguire could be picked in there as well, so you could swap out Maguire for Evans. I've just gone with Johnny Evans in that defensive line. I honestly don't know. You don't know with Ten Hag. The way he chops and changes that back line, I could get 3 out of 4 of those wrong. Maybe even 4 out of 4. Who knows? Obviously, Wan-Bissaka came back in against Newcastle. I thought he played really well. I don't know whether Ten Hag's going to risk him from the start. Potentially I would, but this is my predicted 11, you've got to remember. This is not exactly what I would put in. Amrabat and Mount in the midfield, with Bruno, Rashford and Anthony in behind Rasmus Højlund. Still without a Premier League goal as well, Højlund, so fingers crossed this can be the game that he breaks his duck. But other than that, obviously you've got the likes of Garnacho, potentially Palestri on the bench. But we're still looking thin on the ground in terms of injuries, particularly defensively. I think Martinez and Shaw are obviously still out for the foreseeable future. This is kind of the best we can put out. I know you can make case for like someone like McTominay coming back into the side, but I think this is about the best we can put out, really. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on my lineup. And now I'm going to give you my score prediction. And I'll be real with you, I have no hope in this team. I really have lost all optimism in this team. Not even Wednesday night. That wasn't when I lost all optimism. It was probably a couple games ago, to be honest. It was probably I mean, the Galatasaray game, I think, was a game that really worried me. Really worried me. But I could have said that about 7 or 8 games we've had this season. 8 losses in our first 15 games is our worst start since 1960 odd. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. But I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I just feel like the way we're playing, we have no confidence whatsoever. I think Højlund scores, and I think Fulham take a draw. And who knows, the way the game pans out, that might be a good result for us. Honestly, early kickoff, Craven Cottage. I think we've won only one of our last 11 visits in the league to London clubs. It's just where we are right now. I mean, let's be honest, it's just where we are right now. So I'm going with a 1-1 draw. That's what I'm predicting. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate all of your support. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. But until the next time, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as well if you do enjoy the content. And I'll see you guys in the next one. But for now, see you later.